today I'm going to talk about the market, which is recovering. Bitcoin went from a high of about 109 on November 13th. It hit a low of about 82,000 on November 21st. And at the time of recording this video, it is exchanging hands at about 92,000 US dollars. So what happened? Well, on November 13th, all global markets dipped. It wasn't just the crypto market. Stock markets in Japan, the US, Germany, the United Kingdom dipped. Even gold and silver, which have had such fantastic years, dipped as well. So many reasons have been put forward to explain what happened, but the one that stands out to me has to do with the US Federal Reserve. The US Federal Reserve is the central bank of the United States. Now, on November 13, Fed Reserve officials said they were not on board with a Fed rate cut, with a December Fed rate cut, mainly because they did not have the data that would justify such a course of action. Remember, the US government had just opened for business after being closed for more than 41 days. And they expressed concern about the labor market as well as inflation. The markets reacted negatively to this news, and people started selling. The crypto market, which is the youngest of these markets and most volatile, experienced the worst of it. And this is because, yes, people were selling, but there weren't enough buyers. As I mentioned in a previous video, I believe that less capital is being deployed to the crypto economy because of uncertainty regarding the state of the US economy and economies around the world. And as a result of that, there are bound to be fewer buyers than they would be otherwise. Now, imagine there are many people who want to sell and there are fewer buyers. They're not going to get the best price, right? And that's going to also lead to the prices of assets going down more than they would have had there been sufficient buyers. And so once a bottom was reached, the prices of assets started to recover. And that can also be attributed to remarks made by a US Fed Reserve official. So one of the US Fed Reserve officials recently said that based on the data that is available, it would be appropriate to cut rates in December. What did that data reveal? It showed that the US labor market was cooling. And that means there was slow job growth, there was slow wage growth, there was a rise in unemployment, and also inflation hadn't increased considerably. The state of the labor market indicates that businesses are being conservative about how they spend their money. If conditions are allowed to persist, they would negatively affect the economy. So if the Fed cuts rates, then businesses have access to cheap capital, and that can improve the state of the labor market overall. So based on that reasoning, and also because the current inflation in the United States would accommodate a Fed rate cut, traders and analysts and investors now believe that there's a greater likelihood that the US Fed will cut rates in December. The US Fed Setting Committee meets on December 9th and 10th. So by December 10th, we should know which direction the US Fed has chosen to go. In my last video, I mentioned that I didn't understand why the market was not content with just one Fed cut. Why did it need two? Why did it need three? Why was it being greedy? And what I've learned since then is that the market is not actually greedy. It is jumpy. It just wants to be satisfied that the steps that are being taken will guarantee the health of the US economy. So if one Fed cut is sufficient to guarantee the long-term health of the US economy, the markets will be okay with that. They'll be happy with that. But if they believe that one is not sufficient, if they believe two are not sufficient, if they believe three are not sufficient, they will keep demanding additional Fed cuts until they are convinced that, okay, this is enough. And currently, the market is demanding an additional Fed cut because of the state of the US economy generally. So what I'm waiting for is December 10th. If there is a Fed cut, that will help the markets, and at least we shall end the year on a positive note. JP Morgan has increased the odds of the US Fed cutting rates. Its analysts believe that there'll be another Fed cut in January, probably the last one. So we'll wait and see. That's all that I have for you today. If you like this content, please like and subscribe and share it. Again, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.